Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about something a little different that may go against the normal when it comes to this. I really am not trying to step on anybody's toes with this. I'm just trying to simplify it, if that makes sense. And what I want to talk about today is fire. I was taught that there were three different types of fires. I'm not talking about fire lays or anything like that. Three basic types of fire. And once I talk about that, I also want to talk a little bit about fire kits. I know everybody's got one, but I want to talk about that a little bit as well. The three basic types of fires as it was explained to me, and you can build these any way you want to. Whatever little fire lay you like, however you want to do it. But it was explained to me that the three types of fire are casual, urgent, and critical. A casual fire. A casual fire is the one that there's no rush to build. You may actually not even need it at all. It's just you want it for the comfort of it. And on that one, like I said, if you don't get it started, no big deal. You're good to go without it. The second type is what was taught to me as an urgent fire. An urgent fire is a fire that you have to have, be it for warmth, for cooking your food, for protection, boiling water, anything along that lines. That if you don't have it, you're going to be highly uncomfortable and maybe even on the verge of being miserable. It's a little more urgent to get it done, but you still don't have to be in a real big rush to do it. The last kind, and what I was taught to be the most important, was a critical fire. A critical fire was described to me as the fire you have to have after you fell in a creek at 20 degrees. You have to have it. There's no if, and, or buts about it. You've got to get a fire going. Your life may depend on it, was how it was described to me. With that being said, I want to talk a little bit about fire kits. I actually have three different ones. It depends on what I'm doing, on which kit I take with me. And I have one kit that I'll talk about last, that anytime I'm in the woods, it's always on my belt. The first kit I want to talk about is my kit that I take with me if I go camping and I take the family with me. I got a little boy that loves to play in fire and loves to start fires. The wife has learned as well and is good at it. But the stuff I carry in this kit makes it easy for them, as well as me, to start a fire. And I have multiple options to get it going. You'll also see a little bit of a pattern here. I like to go through the clearance aisle at Walmart and find things and repurpose them. So let's get into this first kit. This first kit is just a waterproof storage box that I picked up at Walmart. I taped off the hole in the top of it and then painted the rest of it. I think I gave maybe $5 for this kit, but it is waterproof, and that is a great thing after you see what all I've got in here. The first thing right on the top is a ferro rod. I think this is what was it called, a bayite or something that I picked up off of Amazon. I actually got two of them for about $15. It's a 1/2 inch in diameter. and then my homemade scraper. This scraper, all it is a 1-inch wood boring bit. I'd actually broke the tip off of this one and found it in a junk drawer and thought, wonder if it'll scrape a ferrule rod. And it's got a real good edge and does a great job. So what I did is I took a drill, drilled a hole in the end of it, and attached the two with a piece of orange paracord. So that's in this kit. Also in this kit is a standard Bic lighter. That's self-explanatory. Also, I have in here as an ignition source, let me get some of this other stuff out of here so we can see, and I love these things and they're getting harder and harder to find, Ohio blue tip matches. They're strike anywhere, and you can actually take several of them, put them together in a bundle, get out of here, fly, and build your tinder bundle around them, and that helps tremendously as well. You can strike these things on rocks, any kind of rough surface, as long as it's not real bad. That's all of my ignition sources that I have in this box. Everything else is what I refer to as tinder. I have an old magnesium bar that I haven't used in ages. It's, really hard to get anything off of it, so I just don't fool with it, to be honest with you. I have my rubbing alcohol cotton balls that I keep in here. I have a handful of just plain cotton balls. They'll take a spark just as easy as the rest of them will. They don't burn as long as the rubbing alcohol ones or as ones soaked in Vaseline, but they still will burn. And then I have some cedar bark that I have collected that I keep in here as well. I usually have some fat wood in here, and I don't right now. I actually need to fill that back up. The last time we used this box, I used up all my fat wood and haven't put any more in it, but I need to before I use this one again. Like I said, this one here goes, if I take the family, it's got everything in here. Even my 11-year-old little boy can start a fire with everything that's in here. So I don't have to worry about that. Now, the next one, and you'll see a pattern about repurposing stuff. The next one is the one that I carry in my backpack. Now, this is not all that I carry in my pack. I've got some alcohol-soaked cotton balls. I've got a waterproof match box that I keep in there as well. I've even got a couple of toluene tablets that I can use. This is just a cell phone holder. I picked it up, I think, for 50 cents in the clearance aisle at Walmart. It's waterproof as well. Yes, it's pinkish purple, whatever color you want. It makes it easy to find if you leave it laying on the ground. In here, I have another Bic lighter. I have another smaller ferrule rod. This one's made by Smith & Wesson. I think I picked it up for a couple of bucks is how come I've got it. I've got a bunch of regular cotton balls in here as well. And then I have these, and these things are great. These are wood fire tablets. Come on, there you go. These things are incredible. You can take them, you can dip them in water, they'll still work. They are good and solid. You have to take something and kind of scrape the top of them up a little bit if you want to light them with a ferrule rod. But as far as a match or a lighter, you can pop them out of the packet and they'll light and go right on and burn for somewhere between 7 and 10 minutes. Also in my backpack, I carry another 1/2-inch ferrule rod like the one you saw a minute ago. And that's it in my pack. You'll see a redundancy here. This ferrule rod, it's a smaller one. The handles come off of it, and what I've done is I've wrapped it with some duct tape, put a little loop on it, make it a little easier to hold on to. But this ferrule rod, I carry in my pocket everywhere I go. I go to work, I go to Walmart, it doesn't matter. This goes in my pocket with all of my change, and it's always with me. And now I want to talk about the personal fire kit. To me, the personal fire kit is the most important, and I'll explain that here in just a second. What I've done on my personal fire kit, this is a pouch from Essie that is made to go on the SE5 or the SE6. It's made to bolt right straight to the sheath. And I tried it that way, and it makes things so big and bulky that it gets in the way. So I took it off, made me a couple of leather belt loops to go on the back of it, and then this goes on my belt that my wife refers to as my woods belt. That belt I wear on the outside of whatever clothing I have on. If I have on a light jacket, sweatshirt, this goes around my waist on the outside of that so that it's easy to get to. I carry this. I carry an old case pocket knife that belonged to my dad that I don't ever remember going camping or hunting or hiking that he didn't take this thing with him. So I take that with me as well. I also carry my fixed blade on that. And sometimes I've got a old metal flashlight loop off of a old police duty belt that I put on there. And that's what I carry my Columbia River knife and tool woods chogan in, if I carry it. This little kit here is what I refer to as a personal fire kit. It's always with you, it's always there, and to me, this needs to be the most important one out of the bunch. And the reason I say that is because if you're out hunting, hiking, and you're away from base camp, this is what you're going to have on you when you fall in the creek at 20 degrees and have to get out and get a fire started with it. Everybody's seen Altoid tin kits of all different types. I don't really have anything in this any different from anybody else. The one thing that I do different from a lot of the ones I've seen on YouTube is everyone wraps them in tape of some kind to keep them waterproof. But when I wrap mine, I put a little pull tab at the top of it. Just because the last thing I want to do if I'm wet, cold, and shivering is trying to pick the tip of that little tape up so that I can open this thing. With that pull tab, it doesn't matter how cold you are, you can grab it and open it up without any issues. In this kit, I don't have anything fancy, but everything in here, I know I can get a fire started with it. And that's the most important thing. Is in a personal fire kit, you need to be proficient with everything in it and know how to use everything in it to guarantee that you can get a fire going. I've got just some regular dry cotton balls. Got a little bit of jute twine. I've got a couple of wet tinder tabs that I've bent the wrapper over and taped them down so that they take up less space. I have this. It is a small magnesium bar. How I got this is several years ago I bought a Tops Bob Fieldcraft, and it come with a little ferrule rod attachment to it, and the ferrule rod had two of these magnesium bars this size, and then had a ferrule rod this size all in one on the little holder. Tried to use it. The magnesium works real good. It's really soft. It's easy to scrape off. It come apart on me, so I kept the rods separate. Tried to use the little ferrule rod this way and actually broke it in two, so it was useless. I threw it away, but I've kept the magnesium bars. Also, I have fat wood in here. Little pieces of fat wood. Here, where I'm at, we don't have a lot of pine. We have a lot of cedar, but not a lot of pine. And it's hard to find fat wood, so I end up having to buy all my fat wood online. Or if I'm lucky, when I'm down to Tennessee, I'll swing by Orvis and pick it up. But I'll order all my fat wood from Orvis. Let me grab a piece of it so you see what it looks like. Oh, it comes in pieces about that size. And it's not real thick, it's thin. You can actually take your hands and break it apart if you need to. I think I gave $35 for a 20-pound box of it, so it'll last a while. Also, something else I did, I kept the paper in case I need it. Everything in this kit, I know that I can get a fire going. As long as I can find marginal small stuff that's fairly dry, marginally dry, I know I can get a fire started with this. And nothing in here takes a lot of gross motor skills to use. Or fine motor skills, I'm sorry, to use. Everything takes a gross motor skill. Probably the hardest thing to do in this whole kit would be to open up the wet fires where I've got them taped up. I also carry one other thing in this kit, and that's the SE Fire Steel. The reason I carry this is it gives me a bow drill option if I need it, but it also works good at scraping a ferro rod, scraping fat wood, scraping magnesium bar, all of that kind of stuff. If something comes up and I lose or don't have my fixed blade knife with me, I've always got this I can roll back on to use on my ferro rod. I can use on any of the other stuff in here to make sure I get a fire going. That's all I've got for you for now. Hopefully I can get something done and get some more outdoor video up for you. Probably won't be any time in the next 4 or 5 days. We're under a heat advisory here. Today it's 88 degrees with a heat index of 96. Tomorrow and Saturday it's supposed to be in the mid 90s, and they're saying the heat index could be as high as 110, maybe just a little over. So probably a good weekend to stay inside. But hopefully next week we've got a cool down. It's actually my short week, so maybe a Monday afternoon or Tuesday I can get out and shoot a little video outside for a change. Y'all have a good day. I appreciate you watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Hope to see you again.